Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. So if you're the kind of person who loves optimizing your mindset, figuring out how to learn efficiently, and really just cutting straight to the core of what actually works, well, you're in the exact right place. Today, we're taking a fascinating piece of source material and, honestly, completely transforming how you view mental resilience. We're going to break down the 13 distinct signs of a truly unshakable mind, step by step. Get ready, because this is going to fundamentally shift your perspective on what it actually means to be strong.
Okay, let's kick things off with a massive quote straight from our source material. Mental strength is not about being hard, it's about being unshakable. We so often mistake coldness for actual strength, don't we? I mean, society basically trains us to think that a strong mind is like a stone wall, callous, emotionless, rigid. But peeling back the layers on this text immediately shatters that illusion. True resilience isn't about hardening your heart or just suppressing your humanity. It's really about developing an internal foundation that is so deep and so secure that the storms of life literally cannot uproot you. Think about the myth versus the reality here. The myth is that power comes from hardness or, external status. But the reality? True power is about calmness and internal control. It comes entirely from how well you manage the world within you. And that is a profound shift in how we measure strength. You can't control the chaotic outside world, right? You can't control the economy or other people's opinions, but you absolutely can control your inner world, and that is exactly where true, unshakable power actually lives. So, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, redefining true mental strength. Second, mastering your inner world. Third, navigating the outer world. Fourth, the engine of growth. And finally, number 5, creating an unshakable life.
All right, let's dive right into Section 1, Redefining True Mental Strength and the Foundation of Inner Peace.
So here's the baseline metric we're working with. A mentally strong person stays calm and protects their inner peace, literally no matter what happens around them. I want you to take a second and self-reflect on your own reactions. When the world spins out of control, maybe a massive crisis at work or a sudden personal emergency, do you spin with it? The ultimate goal of mental strength is to act as the eye of the hurricane. The chaos is swirling all around you, but your center, it remains entirely undisturbed. Protecting that peace is absolutely job number 1.
Moving on to Section 2, Mastering Your Inner World, which is really all about controlling the internal narrative. Our source outlines 3 absolutely critical internal signs here. First, they control their emotions. Notice the nuance here, though. They feel emotions deeply, but they never allow those emotions to control their actions. Feeling sadness or anger or fear, that's entirely human. But letting those feelings dictate your behavior, well, that's a loss of internal control. Second, they actively question negative thoughts. And third, they focus relentlessly on what is within their control. Now, I want to pause for a second and challenge you directly. Do you believe every single negative thought your mind creates? It's incredibly counterintuitive, right? We kind of just assume that if we think something, it must be true. But a mentally strong person treats their mind like a suggestion box, not a dictator. They recognize that the brain is basically a prediction machine that often generates false alarms. Actually, questioning those thoughts is a profound display of inner strength. The crucial takeaway here is this: focus on what you can control and let go of what you cannot change. And remember, letting go is not giving up. Sometimes we think releasing our grip means we've somehow lost, but in reality, letting go of the uncontrollable is an active, highly strategic, and super powerful choice to maintain your internal mastery. It literally frees up your energy to tackle the things you can actually influence. Let's move into Section 3, Navigating the Outer World, focusing on boundaries and relationships. So, a strong inner world is great and all, but how does an unshakable mind actually interact with the highly unpredictable external environment and, well, other people? The text identifies these 5 vital external signs. They set boundaries, they celebrate other people's success, they ask for help, they protect their energy, and they forgive. The common thread running through all of this is resource management. Setting boundaries by saying no isn't being mean, it's an absolute necessity to protect your peace. Similarly, choosing very, very carefully where to give your time and attention, protecting your energy, is how you ensure you actually have enough strength left for the things that truly matter. We often harbor this really fragile belief that doing everything alone makes us strong. But it doesn't. It's actually a weakness. True strength requires the self-awareness to ask for help when it's needed. An unshakable mind completely lacks that fragile ego that demands absolute independence. It takes a remarkable amount of self-awareness to know your limits for sure, and genuine confidence to source assistance without feeling somehow diminished in the process. And that leads to a really profound shift in mindset.
Someone else winning does not mean you are losing. A weak mind operates in this zero-sum game, believing that there's only so much success to go around. Like, if my coworker gets a promotion, it must mean I'm failing. But an unshakable mind, they break entirely out of that zero-sum mentality. Because their self-worth is internally controlled, they can genuinely celebrate other people's victories without feeling the least bit threatened.
When it comes to handling conflict, think of it as a strategic two-step process. Step 1. Forgive to free your mind. Holding on to a grudge is literally like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It only destroys your own inner peace. But step 2 is crucial. Never forget the lesson. An unshakable mind forgives to release all that emotional baggage, but retains the data to protect themselves in the future. It's basically the perfect balance of grace and self-preservation, without being naive.
All right, section 4, the engine of growth. We're looking at evolution and resilience now. So how does an unshakable mind ensure it doesn't just survive, but actively evolves over time? Well, we find our final 5 signs right here. They take responsibility, value rest, are willing to grow, face difficult things, and practice gratitude. It's particularly striking how they handle setbacks, actually. Instead of living inside their mistakes, they learn from them and just move forward. They take absolute responsibility. And an unshakable mind isn't passively hiding from the world either. They actively step outside their comfort zones to face difficult challenges head-on. Now, for all my highly focused, driven learners out there, remember this. Rest is a crucial part of growth. It is not a sign of laziness. We so often push ourselves to the absolute brink, thinking burnout is some kind of badge of honor. But an unshakable mind knows better. Just like a muscle needs recovery time after a tough workout to get stronger, your mind requires rest to maintain its resilience. Taking a break is a strategic necessity, definitely not a moral failing. Building on that growth mindset, a strong mind is humble enough to change when it learns a new truth. Rigidity is a sign of a brittle mind, not a strong one. If you encounter new evidence, adapting to it is literally the ultimate flex of mental strength. Furthermore, doing this while practicing gratitude, appreciating what you still have even during really hard times, that requires an incredible combination of humility and unyielding strength.
And finally, section 5, creating an unshakable life and the daily practice required to get there.
Here is the absolute core takeaway from all of this. Train your mind every single day. A strong mind creates a strong life. Mental strength, becoming truly unshakable, is not a destination you arrive at once and just cross off your to-do list. No way. It is a daily practice. It's a lifestyle of consistently choosing internal control over external chaos, setting boundaries, learning from mistakes, and fiercely protecting your peace. The quality of your mind absolutely dictates the quality of your entire life.
I want to end this explainer with a final, really provocative thought to carry with you. Ask yourself, who or what is trying to shake your inner peace today, and will you let them? You now have the 13 metrics to defend your inner world. The chaos? Well, it's always going to be out there, but whether it breaches your walls is entirely up to you. Stay unshakable, keep learning, and thank you so much for joining me today on The Explainer.